Вітаю шановних колег та всіх, хто спостерігає за нами.
Good evening, dear colleagues and everyone who is watching us online. Today, on the 15th of September 2025, the AG has gathered to have an official meeting to make the necessary decisions as part of the competitive selection for the positions of justices of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. Now, all 6 members of the AG are present at the meeting. The Secretary of the AG, Ms. Marina Connor, the member of the AG, Ms. Hanna Sochotska, Mr. Yaroslav Ramanyuk, Mr. Vasil Shakun, and Mr. Alesh Zalar, and me, the chair of the AG, Oksana Vasilchenko. At the present, we have four deputy members of the AG, Mr. Thomas Griffiths, Richard Bart, Marek Zubik, and Vitaly Makinchuk. Therefore, I declare our meeting quorate and open. I would also like to remind you that all the official meetings of the AG are broadcast live on the official website of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine and on the pages of the advisory group of experts. I will now give the floor to the Secretary of the AG, Ms. Marina Connor, to announce the purpose and the preliminary agenda for today's meeting. Dear Marine, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Greetings, dear colleagues, and greetings to the public. On August 29th, 2025, the advisory group of experts received from the Council of Judges of Ukraine all materials regarding the candidates who were admitted to the competition for 2 vacant positions of judges of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine from the Congress of Judges of Ukraine. Members of the AGE analyzed the list of candidates for possible conflicts of interest. As a result, one of the members of the AGE noted that she sees a possible conflict of interest with one of the candidates and submitted a relevant application to recuse herself from further work on the evaluation of this candidate. According to the requirements of the law and the regulations of the AGE, at our meeting, we must consider applications for self-recusal and approve or reject them. In addition, at the end of July of this year, the Constitutional Court of Ukraine has approved the rules of professional ethics and judges of the CCU. So it's worth to consider the issue of including in the methodology of the AGE a provision that provides these rules for the examination of candidates' knowledge during the assessment of the compliance of candidates for the position of judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine with the criterion of recognizing a level of competence in the field of law. Therefore, taking into account the information provided, I suggest to my dear colleagues to include the following issues on the agenda for today's meeting. First, on consideration of application for recusal of member of the advisory group of experts on evaluation, the candidate for the position of judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. And second, on making changes to the methodology for assessing moral qualities and level of competence in the field of law. Colleagues, do you have any suggestions or comments on this agenda? If there are no comments or suggestions, I propose to put the voiced agenda to the vote for approval. Are there any comments or suggestions? Seeing none, I ask for you to raise your hand if you are for the contents of the agenda as proposed during this meeting. Seeing that all hands have been raised, it is unanimous to approve the proposed agenda for the meeting of the advisory group of experts. We will now move on to a second item. Dear colleagues, we have received the self-recusal statement from Ms. Oksana Vasilchenko due to a possible conflict of interest with a candidate, Yana Avinina Langer, professor of the Department of Constitutional, Administrative, and International Law of the Faculty of Law at the Volyn National University. All of you have had the opportunity to familiarize yourself with the statement and the arguments presented in it, so we can make a decision on this application. Please note that the member of the AGE in respect to whom this application for recusal is being considered does not take part in this vote. So, do you have any questions or comments about the statement? Anyone? Okay, if there are no questions, please vote on whether you approve of Oksana Vasilchenko's statement of self-recusal regarding the candidate Linger. If so, would you please raise your vote, or raise your hand, please? The decision was taken unanimously, obviously 5 votes because our chair does not vote, to approve the self-recusal statement of Oksana Vasilchenko, a member of the advisory group of experts regarding the evaluation of Yana Linger, a candidate for the position of judge of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine.
Dear colleagues, we move on to agenda item number 2 on amending the methodology of the AG. Therefore, I would like to ask our colleague, Mr. Yaroslav Romaniuk, to briefly outline the essence of the proposed changes. The floor is yours. Thank you, dear colleagues, and everyone who's watching us online. On July 22, 2025, the Constitutional Court of Ukraine adopted a resolution on approval of the rules of professional ethics of CCU justices. These rules actually became a part of the necessary professional knowledge of the judges of the Constitutional Court and therefore also of the candidates for the positions of the justices of the CCU. Given this, it is absolutely logical and necessary to include these rules in the list of professional knowledge according to which the advisory group of experts assesses the candidate's compliance with the criterion of the recognized level of competence in the field of law. That is why I propose to make the appropriate amendments to the methodology for assessing moral qualities and the level of competence in the field of law of the advisory group of experts, namely to add the words rules of professional ethics of a judge of the CCU to subitem 2 of item D of part 4 of article 2 of the methodology of the AG. So please support this. Thank you, dear Yaroslav, for a clarification of the proposed amendments, and I believe that such a decision will be absolutely logical and will correspond to the purpose of our work to fully and comprehensively evaluate the compliance of candidates with the criterion of integrity and competence. Colleagues, do you have any comments or observations regarding the proposed changes to the AG methodology? If there are no comments, please vote on whether you support the voiced proposal for making amendments to our methodology of the assessment of the moral competence and the level of competence in the field of law by adding subpoint 2 of point D of the fourth part of Article 2 with the words rules of the professional ethics of judges of the CCU. Please vote. Who is for? Thank you, dear colleagues. The decision has been adopted unanimously. All members of the AG voted for the proposed amendments to the methodology for assessing moral qualities and the competence in the field of law of the advisory group of experts. Dear colleagues, we have exhausted the agenda of today's meeting. I will also take this opportunity to briefly inform the public about the status of competitions for the positions of judges of the CCU. Now there are 6 vacant positions of justices of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. 2 positions from each appointing entity. We'd like to inform you in more detail regarding each appointing entity. Regarding the competition for the quota of the President of Ukraine, on February 18, 2025, the AG completed the evaluation of the candidates for the positions of judges of the CCU according to the quota of the President of Ukraine, and on February 19, sent all the necessary documents for appointments by the President of 3 new judges of the Constitutional Court of Ukraine. As of today, the President has appointed only 1 judge of the CCU. 2 more positions remain vacant. Regarding the competition for the quota of the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, also on February 18, 2025, the AG completed the evaluation of candidates for the positions of judges of the CCU under the quota of the Parliament of Ukraine, and on February 19, sent to the Parliament all the necessary documents. As of now, the Parliament has not appointed judges of the CCU, and the competition is ongoing. Regarding the competition for the quota of the Congress of Judges of Ukraine on August 29, 2025, the AG received all the documents of 17 candidates and began the analysis of materials related to them, which according to the law must be completed no later than 4 months, including the interviews with the candidates. Therefore, traditionally, the AG calls on everyone who has any information about candidates for the positions of the justices of the CCU, which can be used to assess moral qualities and the level of competence in the field of law, please send it to the email address of the advisory group of experts. And on behalf of the advisory group of experts, I call on the public to follow the work of the AG and with their attention, participation, be involved in the implementation of reforms in Ukraine. With this, I declare the meeting of the AG adjourned. Thank you for your attention.